Mars is not just a target for exploration but an insurance policy for the long-term survival of humanity. Elon Musk determined that a civilization dependent solely on Earth is too vulnerable to climate and political crises. Beyond simple curiosity, a grand design to evolve humanity into a multiplanetary species has begun. To realize this vision, the first challenge he had to solve was the astronomical cost of launches. He moved the space industry from a government monopoly to the private sector to pursue the extreme of efficiency. Armed with speed and innovation, the culture of SpaceX is shaking the foundations of a stagnant industry. The early days of SpaceX were a series of continuous explosions and devastating failures. However, for them, failure was not a defeat but the most valuable data for the next step. Even when pushed to the brink of bankruptcy after 3 failed launches, the will to try again never broke. The agile method of launching, analyzing, and rebuilding changed the speed of space development to warp speed. The vertical landing success that everyone ridiculed was an event that completely rewrote space economics. Now, a rocket is no longer disposable trash but a reusable shuttle for the stars. SpaceX is now building a massive neural network to connect the entire world beyond just rockets. The internet signals from tens of thousands of satellites erase every communication blind spot on the planet. High-speed connectivity is now possible in the middle of a desert or the center of the Pacific Ocean. As proven in the war in Ukraine, Starlink is now a strategic national asset and an essential part of modern warfare. This is a grand declaration to seize global data sovereignty beyond just a communication service. The satellites of SpaceX are removing the inequality of opportunity caused by physical distance in real time. The most massive and powerful transport system in history, Starship, is preparing for its voyage. Mocking the limits of previous rockets, it is the birth of a space truck that carries over 100 tons at once. The completion of Starship proves that lunar bases and Martian migration are no longer just imagination. The moment the 2026 Mars window opens, a fleet of 5 uncrewed starships will leave Earth. The workers who will build bases in the extreme Martian environment before humans arrive are a robot army. A massive rehearsal for humanity's first footprint on Mars is unfolding in our time. The era of harvesting solar energy 24/7 in space, where there are no nights or clouds, is coming. SpaceX is realizing the vision of converting collected energy into microwaves to beam it directly to Earth. If this technology succeeds, the chronic energy shortages and environmental problems of humanity will end. Space, free from the cooling issues of Earth, will become the optimal base for AI computing. A world where energy and data are supplied from orbit will fundamentally change human lifestyle. The era of space civilization 1.0, where Earth's infrastructure moves to the sky, has officially begun. Wall Street is now holding its breath for the largest initial public offering in history. An estimated value of $2 trillion. This is not just an IPO but a massive migration of capital to space. To secure the astronomical funds needed for Martian construction, Musk now seeks the power of capital. The secured massive capital will be fully invested in the mass production of Starship and space infrastructure. The space business that once existed only as a dream has become a financial juggernaut proven by numbers. Musk's capital gamble to accelerate the speed of space development to light speed has begun. Behind the rosy future lies a massive risk that humanity has never experienced before. The orbital congestion created by thousands of satellites can block humanity's path with a single collision. The Kessler syndrome. If orbit turns into a graveyard of junk, humanity will be locked in Earth forever. The light pollution from Starlink is hindering astronomical observation and erasing our common heritage. We must ask if this brilliant festival brought by technological progress is a sustainable future. A grave warning about what we might lose in the price of space development has begun. Imagine if the data, communication, and energy of the entire world were controlled by a single individual. It is a dangerous era where a nation's security and infrastructure can be paralyzed by a single service cutoff. The price of convenience is monopoly. It is the moment when a private company's intent becomes stronger than sovereignty. Data sovereignty disappears as global infrastructure is subordinated under the giant empire of SpaceX. The line between the ambition to privatize space and the vision to save humanity is extremely blurred. We are now voluntarily walking into the network of a massive monopoly system. The low-cost space era opened by SpaceX is a double-edged sword for nations around the world. It is a crossroads of whether our core technology will become a partner or a subordinate in the SpaceX ecosystem. The space race has turned into an infrastructure war where national survival is at stake. Without strategic space industry development at a national level, we may lose leadership forever. A desperate game of survival for each nation to endure on the wave created by SpaceX has begun. The invisible war to preoccupy the gateway to space has already arrived at our side. The history of humanity will now be clearly divided into the Earth Age and the Space Age. The communication revolution is already a daily reality, and energy and logistics revolutions are preparing in orbit. We are now at the turning point where the human species leaves the cradle of Earth and ventures into space. The vision that once seemed like a dangerous gamble to some has now become the irreversible destiny of humanity. Imagination has become reality, and at the center of that revolution is SpaceX, which redefines space as infrastructure. The next chapter of humanity will now be recorded among the stars, not on Earth.